Oh, okay. Well, that took way too long. Mana Traders was being very uncooperative, and to get the deck took the better part of half an hour. So, uh, with that, we're just gonna sort of get straight into it because I don't really feel like delaying too much. But remember that you can make suggestions in the suggestion box. The Legacy Reclamation deck is a work in progress. It'll be streamed probably sometime within the next month. We've got a schedule. Today would normally be our podcast, but because Josh and Richie were out of town for the SCG Open in Philly, I think, I was requested to fill in for them. Tomorrow, that means there'll be a podcast, and there more than likely won't be Legacy. There might be, but there also might not. You can donate to us on Patreon. We also have a TCG player if you're feeling like spending some dough. We have a Twitter where you can find me at Almost Omniscient. And I need to change this title because this is Punishing Friends. Now, the name of the deck is because this is a Superfriends list. Oh, also we have donate, and you can catch my old videos on YouTube and Twitch replays, but that's unimportant relative to the here and now. So, the deck is. The idea of the deck is to use Dak Faden and effects like Punishing Fire to sort of grind out whatever deck you play against. It doesn't matter what they're playing. You can more or less just make them be like, okay, I'm out of cards, you got this. What's unique about this particular list is that we're on not just the 3 Dak Fadens, but normally there's not a Lily or Narsets in the deck anymore. It's 2 Wrenn and Six, 2 Jace, 3 Dak. The additional Narsets and Lilies are there to complement Wrenn and Six, which I added an additional one. Punishing Fire is. It's good. You use it with Grove of the Burn. It just does 2, which is like, well, it's worth Searing Spear. But the Searing Spear you can get back by paying 1 off of Grove of the Burn Willows. And you just make an opponent gain 1 life, you get it back. Which makes Punishing Thieves very difficult for Delver decks to deal with. We also can do some neat things with Dak Faden and Narset and Leovold. Dax Plus, target player draws 2, then discards 2. With Leo or Narset, they can only draw 1. So you're negging them a card from hand every time you do that. And that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but because this deck is built on a very grindy axis, that's a very big deal. And out of the board, if we're playing against a deck that is so inclined to get blown up by Notion Thief, we can do that. We can end up upticking. We draw 2, they discard 2. Normally, that draws a concession because no one wants to have a virtual +4 against them, especially not when it's a +2 and for them and a -2 for you. So that normally is something that leads to a concession right away. Force of Negations in the board are just extra copies of Force of Will, and we need them against combo because, well, we're very good against conventional decks. Decks like Sneak can give us a headache. We also have Goyf and Skoos just as additional bodies if we need them, which is pretty nice. Then we have some standard removal type stuff and counterspells. So we're going to get into this right away. Now, what's very different about this list than previous Wrenn and Six lists I've run is this deck. So if you listen to me carefully, which would be a very bad mistake because then you're actually hearing what I'm saying and you're like, ugh. But if you watch previous videos, you know that frequently what I wanted to fetch was a Trop and a Badlands. This deck, no. What you want, the reason why in the other deck was because the other deck let you have Abrupt Decay and Wrenn and Six mana up. This time, we want... Yes, I would like to play first. Well, this is swell. Like, this is just a super solid hand. We'll get an underground, and then we'll ponder. So we want the Narset in hand. And then we have a Force of Will up for whatever they do. But in this deck, you want to have an Underground Sea and a Grove. Oh god, no, it's going to be a mono-red prison. That's not going to be fun. So I'm trying to decide if I want to just fetch here and potentially be able to get something. Well, actually, I can't do anything with Wrenn and Six right here. And I should have fetched for a Volk. But I'm so used to... That's cool, bud. We want... So we need another blue source, but we also need another red. So we'll Thoughtseize them. I know, not strictly the... Well, we'll take a Karn. Green, red. Now, one really nice thing about having Wrenn and Six in a deck like this is that this makes Dak a house, because we get rid of extra lands. This synergizes super well with Lily, as anyone who watched the previous video saw, and it also just... It goes nicely with a lot of things. So we're going to start punishing firing them out at this point if they don't have anything to do. And like here, we're in a very, very advantageous position. So Karn, Ancient Tomb. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to aggressively not care about that. Chalice on 1? Sure. Then we're going to get back our Punishing Fire. And, well, we have two different options here. We can just Punishing Fire... We can Punishing Fire twice. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ping and save us a little bit of hassle on dealing with like an actual card while we care about. Yep, you sure have an Ensnaring Bridge. Mm-hmm. Question is, do I want to fetch here? Not yet. So I need to have. We'll get an island. We'll get a swamp. And we'll get a trop. Then we'll just play out our Jace. Who is more useless? Thoughtseize is pretty up there. I mean, as is the Brainstorm, but... Here, like, we are so far ahead, it's really kind of dumb. Nice. So you can go back, and you can go back. Oh, I should have just used the, just had the fetch for... Let's return this polluted delta, and then we're going to pass. Because we have no need to do anything right now. Yeah, this deck is pretty nutty, if we're going to be honest. Like, when it comes to, if you know how to play this type of deck, you're just so heavily favored against everything in the field. Alright, we'll go with a trophy and just kill off the Chandra. Yes. Well, that's unfortunate. I guess we'll take a DAC. So they're going to discard 2 cards here. And now we can start... Nope. Yeah, we more or less have this one. We will... Now we can force a will from our yard, but we really don't need to. Let's pitch a Scalding Tarn. Would you like to concede? There we go. Yep. This is the beauty of Punishing Thieves, which is it's one of my favorite decks in the format, and it's a shame that. So the only thing I'm missing are Dak Fadens, but I don't want to use the. I want to use the new Dax just because they look so cool, which is admittedly super greedy. Gonna quickly explain sideboard choices. Tarmogoyf, it's just really good against decks that have so many different card types. Assassin's Trophy, Force of Negations are also pretty self-explanatory. Hydroblast, good against everything in red. Pernicious Deed is the one card that might not automatically make sense. The reason I have Pernicious Deed in here is that if I run this out... Oh, I need that Plague Engineer. I can just... So, what their deck is based around is Goblin Rabblemaster and Legion Warboss. And so Pernicious Deed, once it's out there, ends up threatening those cards. It's a good way of dealing also with... Really embarrassing that I can't remember what I was about to say. It's also really good against Blood Moon, because we can just say, okay, yeah, you can have your Blood Moon, whatever. Narset is not quite as great here. Trim a Ponder, because that's what you do when you have too much action, or not enough action, and you just need... Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Actually, I don't want to cut a Wrenn and Six. I never want to cut a Wrenn and Six ever again in my life. I love that card. Dak is less great, but also Dak is still serviceable here because it means we can end up stealing... Can't keep this hand. This one's borderline, because if we get a fetch land, we end up having a force. We have Thoughtseize as a play for what they do, and then we have just more stuff to do. But in the interest of being safe... Alright, well, hopefully no Blood Moon on turn 1. Chalice on 1. That stinks. This is likely going to get followed up with a Blood Moon. Worst case is a Rabblemaster. I was wrong. This is the worst case. I think we're just dead here. Like, actually just dead in the water on that. I should have kept the greedy hand. I realize I probably want that Deluge as well. Going first, these, like, discard effects are so much better. But also, the problem with discard in this matchup is that they're still just trying to go Hellbent. So it's really hard to justify it a lot of the time. Because they're like, oh, well, cool stuff. I have no cards in hand. And you go, great. So we're not going to have any discard this time. This hand is fine. If it's just a Chalice on one, yeah, that's fine. Okay. During our upkeep, we're going to fetch, actually. We need a green-black. So we need that Bayou. Okay, now we are in a commanding position. We have a Punishing Fire, Grove Loop, we have fetches, and we have a negate. Okay, so here, I think I want to fetch for an underground. Or actually, I need a... Ugh. Choosing the colors you want in this deck is very messy. I have to get a Volk, actually. Because I need to be able to have Punishing Fire up in case he plays a Rabble Master or something. Okay, so he's going to uptick. We are going to have to Punishing Fire Chandra out. Yep, we're going to get that back. So we'll add a colorless and a red. We'll Punishing Fire Chandra. And then we will ping Chandra. And we're going to leave up this Assassin's Trophy because it lets us deal with a Blood Moon if it comes down, because we just float mana in response. And then we trophy it. Yeah, this deck has a lot better matchups. It's just really hard to play. Like, you need to... Knowing what hands you can and can't keep is sort of a struggle. I need to keep this one because I'm going first. This hand has a turn 2 Wrenn and Six and a turn 3 Lily or Leo. So I can't toss it back, and also we have the land drops we need because we have the correct color combinations, which is oftentimes somewhat difficult to achieve. Is this going to be another mono red? It is. I want that basic swamp, and that Chalice is going to have to be fine. So hopefully... The good news is that we're pretty insulated from Chalice in a lot of senses. So we're going to fetch here before I forget. Web and Underground Sea. Then we are going to run out a Leovold and pass the turn. This gives us some buffer room in case he plays like a... well, who cares about buffer room anymore? You're never having cards again. Yeah, this is going to be pretty unfortunate for him. Alright, so same things we brought in last time. These boys, this. We don't want to be doing all the discard things on turn 2 when we're getting our asses handed to us. Leo is awkward because they're not targeting us. Lily is awkward because they're trying to be hellbent. Triumph is awkward because when they have things on board, they are not things that are going to get hit by Triumph. Or that are not going to at least be incredible liabilities when it's less than great. And a Ponder. Yeah, we'll go with this. I should have cut a Strix instead of the Narsets. I'm just so terribly in love with this card. It is everything I want to do in Magic. Turn on Chalice. How'd I know? Mm-hmm. Yep, not winning that one. Strix is worse than Narset, and now we might want some discard. Well, do we? Do we really? That's why we bring in Plague Engineers, so we can just name goblins, and they'll just be like, huh, I guess I lose. And Punishing Fire is on color removal under Blood Moon. Just feels so bare without Baleful Strixes. So we're going to lead on the Thoughtseize, actually. What is going to make you use the most cards? So here, what we're likely looking at is Ancient Tomb. He plays the Chromox, imprinting the Chandra. Or he could just Not need to. Unfortunate. Oh, no. So let's find another land. Alright, well, this is going to be a weird one. So, we know he has a city, and we're going to have a snap on top. Well, that doesn't kill us, so I'm pretty happy about that. Mm-hmm. Please play something that I can end up, like, doing something about. Okay, we should probably get our basic island, and then guess we're stuck on that trop plan. That feels really bad. Smart play on their part. That really sucks. So we're going to use this to ponder here, hopefully get a red source. I'm leaving the Force of Negation on top because that way if they draw a Blood Moon, we're insulated. Deals 1 damage to each creature and 2 damage to each opponent. So I'm actually going to have to do something about that. Holy shit. I think we're losing this one. Don't know if there's anything more we can really do here. We more or less needed to be able to keep that DAC in hand. Yeah, we're dead. Alright, well, mono red, not the best matchup in the world for 4 color Punishing Fire Grixis Thieves. Big surprise. For anyone who's just tuning in, welcome to Mom's Basement Streams. We're playing Legacy tonight, and we have a very interesting deck. This is largely based on a Strifo list. Thank God for Strifo. The idea is use DAC, drawing cards, pitch Punishing Fires, recur them with Grove of the Burn Willows, grind them out. We can also synergize with Wrenn and Six, Narsets, Leovold, Liliana the Veil, and Notion Thief, and it all just kind of becomes a very hyper-synergistic, grindy control deck, which is pretty unusual. Normally, when you have control, it's not super synergy based. You don't see that type of deck really often in Legacy. Like Miracles, when top was legal, had that sort of feel. Now it's sort of just blue-white, play, draw, go until you can run out of Mentor. And this doesn't do just that. It does some more interesting things. I'll keep this. Don't have much we can do this turn. Okay, just Delver. I'm not going to bother pondering here, because I would rather just save myself from a wasteland and get to instead Punishing Fire. During their turn. What is he now? He's a human insect. Well, so what you name with Plague Engineer against this deck is humans, because, well, the cards you care about are almost entirely humans. Like, so here we're gonna see if we can get him to tap out. No. So the reason you Punishing Fire during upkeep is so that they have to use mana, not sort of at their leisure, but when we want them to. And it's not like they can run out of True Name this turn anymore. Oh, they're on Rug. Interesting. What's yes? 3 is yes. So during their upkeep, so this matchup definitely gets better for us after we board, because we end up having some, like, threats that, or cards that deal with their threats. Yep, we're dead. We also have a lot of cards that are very bad in matchups like this. Dak is not great here. All of these cards are. Especially against Rug. This card is really bad because even though we're going to be getting that late in the game, their goal is to make sure that I'm constrained on mana. Narset is fine. Lily is essential. Dak is not the best in matchups like this. Just because... So here's the thing about Dak in matchups like this, is that Dak is great when you are trying to get through cards to find what you want. But normally that requires you don't have a whole ton of pressure, and we're playing against a Goyf Nimble Mongoose Delver deck. Yes, I would like to play first. Fast Maul. Auto keep. I think Punishing Fire has to be what we go with here. We are going to fetch, grab a Tropical Island. And then we'll Ponder. These are all great things. So they have to leave in a lot of Force of Wills and stuff because the only thing that matters when you're playing Rug Delver is not losing tempo, which is why Spell Snare is so good in their deck in particular. Because when you end up having the ability to Spell Snare a 2-drop, you're gaining mana. And that's a really big deal for Rug because it... Rug needs that tempo advantage because otherwise more or less everything it does is way worse. Is he running out a goose, or is he going to run out... Like, this is why Stifle is not a card I want to see in Modern, is this exact type of matchup, where it's just, well, here we go. Well, that's really shitty. I don't know if we can win if he gets that out there. I mean, we'll just play along with it, but I think we're more or less dead because we're just gonna get Wasteland. Actually, no, we're not. I'm so this deck also is really susceptible to Wasteland because you don't have quite as good of a fetch base. Yeah, you have basics, but basics like almost aren't worth it in this type of deck because a lot of the time what happens is you're like, okay, great, got basic island like there, and suddenly I need red mana. And that's more or less where Legacy is at right now, is that it's very hard to tell if it is worth it to be on basics. Obviously, if you're in blue-white, you should be. Obviously, you should be on as many as you can be. But in a lot of cases, I would be surprised if they let Wrenn and Six stick around too long. Because it does the same thing that Deathray did. Gonna be playing Legacy Rec sometime in the next month, and I'm gonna be very upset about it because it is a lot of clicking. Also, this deck should not be on this many Planeswalkers, but it is Planeswalker month, so we are doing a shit ton of Walker decks. Later this week, we have Superfriends in... I don't remember what Superfriends lists we have, and we have more. And I think that's really all that matters, is that if you want to get an itch for, like, get your fix for doubling season decks, now is probably a very good month to do so. This hand is strictly keepable, only in, like, the vaguest way. This is the problem with Grove of the Burn Willows and not having as many fetches, is that you get hands like this. So I guess we're just on the uptick Wrenn and Six and hope they die plan. They're either on depths. They might be on just depths, or they might be on... No, they'd be on depths, because that's Thoughtseize. That's one drop. Or maybe I was mistaken. What are they doing? Very perplexed right now. I mean, Wrenn and Six isn't doing a whole lot, but if we can find a fetch, we can catch up. Oh, no, not this deck. Yeah, we can... So this is like a, a lands Hogak deck that's just really quite terrifying. Whoops, gave them 2 life. But don't see. This is. Well, we have a force, and I guess we're just gonna. Yep, we're just gonna die. Man, this deck is frustrating to play. Why did I ever want to play this? To the Slaughter, Goyfs, Trophy, Surgicals. Oh, Plague Engineer is really bad. Well, this hand at least does something. We'll grab a Volk, and then we're gonna Ponder. Shuffle. And then we got very lucky. Hitting that Trop, pretty phenomenal luck. It means that we got Wrenn and Six out there. But they're on this very fast depths graveyard deck, which makes it very hard to sort of figure out what avenue of attack actually even works. Because you can't really bring in too much graveyard hate against Dark Depths. You can bring in Surgicals because Surgicals hit depths, but that's it. Oh shit. Well, that's not a good sign. Red, green. Let's get our turn back and hope we don't die. Yeah. I'm thrilled by the prospect of never playing this deck again. Because saying it is clunky is a pretty dramatic understatement. Well, good news is we get to put that in, we get to kill that. Interesting choice, and a pretty feel-bad one, if I'm going to be honest. I figured they would bring in Surgical, so cut some Punishing Fires. My ankle is itchy because of all the mosquito bites. I have like a bajillion mosquito bites and they all feel really bad. I actually have 11 on one leg. Yeah, next time, guys, I'm just gonna play normal Wrenn and Six pile because this is very stressful. Good news is that I don't have a whole ton of good news on this one. Oh wait, no, I do. I do. So we got a this is kind of like repulsive as far as mana goes. Um, and then we're gonna just bounce that guy. Yeah, this deck, Elvish Reclaimer, is one of the most interesting cards in M20 because it is good enough to spawn a new archetype. So what we're gonna do is we are going to abrupt decay that. And then when he ends up floating the mana, makes the copy of Dark Depths, we end up popping it with Assassin's Trophy. He gets one land, he has two lands. We have a Wrenn and Six that's going to ult. And then we have Infinite from to the Slaughters and Assassin's Trophies. Whoops. Yeah, this card is the reason why I played Bug Delver for a while, was just because Bug Delver was able to, and Bug Control were able to beat up on all the depth decks that were floating around. And that's all you needed to do because there were so many during that, like, a 2 month stretch. Mm-hmm. So hard to sideboard against this deck. Like, there are legitimately so many different ways you can just get screwed over. Um, like I can bring in negations, which technically do a little. I guess I should bring another deck in because I can take their Mox Diamonds. And that's better than nothing. Actually, I would rather have a Scoos than Punching Fire. Now, I don't know how to play this deck super duper well because, one, the deck has changed since the last time I played it, which was when Death Ray was legal. Two, there aren't many more difficult decks in the entire format than this. And so, something about familiarity. Okay. So let's grab a Trop because it lets us cast everything. And then we're going to Thoughtseize them. So that we know if there's... Well, we're fucked. Rip. Yeah, we got wastelanded. Well. Yeah. That's 4-color control, baby. Oof. Yep, beat us to death with a Hex Mage. Okay, well. Why didn't you Cabal Therapy and name our Brainstorms? If our opponent isn't a complete moron, they should have Cabal Therapy named our Brainstorms. Yep, but we're dead this one. God, I do not like this deck. It's like you take all of the good redeeming qualities of having a 4-color control deck, and you're like, here's a lot of synergies that make it very hard to play, and also we cut Baleful Strixes. And so matchups like that are typically pretty okay for 4-color control are really difficult. Hold on just a moment. Alright, I need to cut things short tonight. Long story. I'll try streaming later this week, preferably with a more fun, less painful deck because I'm going to be honest, Strifo is a madman and a much better player than me. But also, I don't really want to play with... His list doesn't have Narsetz or Liliana the Veil. It just has Dax, Wrenn and Six, and Jace, which makes it probably a little bit better than the one we're playing right now. Anyway, good night, everybody. Tomorrow will be the podcast. Wednesday is going to be standard, then Thursday Legacy, or not Legacy, Modern, then Friday is... I don't know what, actually. We might see some sort of Mono Red Super Friends list from Josh, which I'd be very interested in. But, anyway, good night, everybody. Hope you had fun.